Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Happy pre-Friday. Nice to see you all. Today, we are going to talk about Canvas new quizzes, and this is a faculty workshop brought to you by the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. My name is Kevin Zaragoza, and the workshop learning objectives for today are very brief, but very important. By the end of this workshop, faculty will create different types of questions and new quizzes, such as multiple choice, true or false, matching, ordering, categorization, and hotspot. You'll be able to manage new quiz settings and features such as moderation, duplication, direct sharing, and auto grading. And last but not least, you'll be able to migrate existing classic quizzes into new quizzes. This last bullet point right here is very important because June 30th, 2024, it may feel like a long ways from now, but this date right here, classic quizzes, which we may all be using at the moment, is going away. And so we do want to initiate the process of migrating our classic quizzes into new quizzes as soon as possible at your leisure, but this classic quiz is going away. Okay. Any general comments, questions, or concerns at the moment? All right. The show goes on. So before we begin to build an actual new quiz, let's go ahead and show you a sample of what this actually looks like. And wrong tab. Here we go here. And do let me know, is the display zoomed in enough, or would you like it a little bit more?
Looks good.
Looks good. Copy that. Thank you. All right. So again, this is just a sample overview of a new quizzes format, more or less of a user interface example. So this one I've titled Campus Trivia. This is my basic description. Hello, everyone. I'm looking forward to getting the semester started with you all and learning from one another. For this week, please complete this introductory quiz. We'll share more next time. Thank you. And who can tell me, what do you see at the very top in the middle of the page? It's counting down. There's that timer. So we will talk about timer settings once we finish the overview of building the new quizzes. But this timer here, you do get the nice option of actually hiding it. So again, this is more of the student view. So if the student would like to hide that timer at the top, they do get that option. Okay. So number one, what type of question is this?
Multiple choice.
Multiple choice, right? Probably the most commonly used type of question. So number one, and again, this is just for fun, all right? So which of the following is not a former name of Holy Names University? Who can tell us? Is it the Convent of Our Lady of the Sacred Heart, College of Holy Names, the College of Holy Names, or Holy Names College?
Name College.
Holy Names College?
Yeah.
All right. And then number two is very similar to number one, but what's the difference? Do you see something a little different there?
But you can apply to many answers.
Right. So this number two is a multiple answer type question. If we're looking at it very specifically, multiple choice is the rounded bubble, and then multiple answer is the rounded square. And so piggybacking off of question number one, select all of the former Holy Names universities. So I'll go ahead and click all of them except Holy Names College. As so. Number three, it looks very similar to a multiple choice, but it's just true or false. So this is a true or false type question. So Holy Names was established in 1868. True or false?
True.
True. All righty. Number four, this is a fun one too. It's actually fun to build out. So we'll see that shortly. Type your answer here, and this is a fill in the blank type question. Blank Grainer is the current HNU president. Who can tell us the name of our president?
Michael. Yeah.
Michael, there we go. Thank you very much. Number five, this is one of those new ones, and this is called matching. So match the HNU school with the correct dean. Over here on the left, we have our schools, and over here on the right, we have a drop-down list. So for the School of Business and Applied Social Sciences, I'm going to click on this drop-down list, and I have my three options. And who can tell us who the correct dean is?
Second one.
Second one, right on. The School of Education and Liberal Arts.
First one.
And the School of Science, Allied Health, and Nursing. process of elimination, Pamela Stanley. All right, and number 6 is actually a duplicate of number 5 with something special called distractors. New Quizzes has a distractors term, and what that means is that you can add additional options in order to distract or challenge the student. So I'll just go ahead and for this example, I'm going to select incorrect answers. And these are my distractors. Over here in the very top right, I did mention this might be a time where student is challenged. Do you see that little thumbnail, that thumbtack? This means to pin the question. So if the student would like to pin the question, this means that before they submit, New Quizzes will notify them that, hey, this question needs to be reviewed. Would you like to go back and answer it? So they are more than welcome to skip it at the moment. They just go ahead and pin it and they'll come back to it later. I'll actually leave it pinned for the moment. Number 7, this is a drag and drop type question. And so the prompt here is drag and drop the following class standings from the first year to last year. And before I actually drag and drop, notice up here and at the bottom, I have something that New Quizzes calls labels. I'll talk about that later. But basically your labels are the spectrum. What is it from the beginning to the end? So at the very top, I would like to know the first year, and at the very bottom, I would like the last year. Vice versa, if you prefer to have it be labeled in backwards chronological order, this is where you would put last year and first year, just to specify what you would like to the students to order it in. Does that make sense? Again, just labels, first year, last year. So the first year are freshmen. Then we have our sophomores. Then we have our juniors and then our seniors. Basic drag and drop. Number 8, this is a fun one as well. A little similar to the drag and drop over here, but this one's called categorization. And for this one, we can have different categories. And the prompt here is drag and drop the correct H&U staff under their department. So we have the CETO department and we have the IT department, our neighbors. And so here are the possible answers. And Iching Wang, where does Iching go? Is she CETO or IT?
CETO.
CETO, very good. What about Jay Castillo?
IT.
IT. And then Tomasa Nelson,
CETO.
my colleague and fellow instructional designer. Zarni,
E.
IT. Joshua,
E.
IT.
last but not least, Mr. Kevin. I'll go
CETO.
into CETO. All right. So this is, again, a categorization type question. Pretty fun. And you also have the ability to turn on distractors for categorization. So if the student would really have to know what is required within each category, because they can move on and submit the quiz with options still in this area. Okay. So again, distractors is an option for categorization. Questions, comments, concerns. How's the speed? Am I all right?
It's
Okay.
fun.
It's fun. All right. I like to hear that. And number 9, this is also a hot one. It's called hotspot. Number 9 is a hotspot type question. And the question here is click on the Paul J. Cushing Library. So I have an image here of the campus map, holy names. Where is the Paul J. Cushing Library? What letter?
F.
F, very good. So if I hover over the image, notice that my cursor changes into these little crosshairs. I'm going to click in the F area, and then I have this little target. Fun. Moving forward, everything that we've done so far, all of these are auto-graded by New Quizzes. I'll say that again. Everything we've done so far is auto-graded by New Quizzes. The last 2 type of questions have to be manually graded by the instructor. This is a file upload type question and an essay type question. Let's go ahead and go through them one by one. So number 10 says, upload a picture of your favorite spots on campus. The student has the ability to drag and drop or browse their computer. The easiest way to drag and drop is more or less, I like to work in the maximum view on my computer. But if you're not, you can simply go on your desktop and drag and drop that image from your desktop over onto the file upload area, just like so. And here's another fun fact. This is our brand new classroom found in HEFE 655, 654. And go ahead and take a look if you're ever on campus. We are building this out, making a more active classroom. So this is my new favorite spot on campus. That will be my answer for number 10. Number 11, let me go ahead and maximize this again. And number 11 is also a instructor favorites because over here on the bottom left, what do you see? Yeah, so as you type, new quizzes will count the words. All right, so I have 9 words here. This is an optional feature. So when you are building new quizzes, you can have this turned on, okay? So it counts the amounts of words that have been typed, and it can also require a minimum set and a maximum set of words for the response. Tell us about your most favorite memory at HNU, virtually or on campus. Here's the rich content editor where the student can type their responses and format it, such as bolding, italicizing, underlining. They can also upload media and hyperlinks, tables, anything like that. This is the rich content editor. And this is the general overview of the new type of questions and new quizzes. I'll say it again. Questions, comments, concerns. The next part, we will be building this. And so we're looking at a closer look at it all. But questions, overview of it. Ichi.
Not sure whether you are going to do that, but would you click submit so we can see if the pinned question will give us any notice?
Sure thing. So over here on the bottom right, once the student is ready to submit, they will submit. And it's going to say, upon submission, you will not be able to change your answers. Are you ready to submit? Let's go ahead and continue. And the new quizzes will be auto grading. Notice over here in the very top, it says 2 questions require grading. So this isn't the final score because the instructor still has to grade which type of questions. Who's paying attention?
Number 10 and 11.
Yep. So number 10 and 11, those are file upload and essay. So again, this is just the kind of how you did for those auto graded type questions. Okay. So we do get the percentage, the number of points gained, 1 achieved out of 15, and then how much time we took on that quiz. Over at the bottom as well, we do get a review of our choices that we selected versus what was correct and incorrect. And in the settings later on, this is optional as well. The instructor has the ability to turn this off. So have no fear. This is able to be turned off. And yeah. There we go. Ready to build? All right, let's get to it. So before we actually build a new quiz, I like to say we have to flip the switch. We actually have to activate new quizzes. And in order, because it's not on by default, this is more or less a new feature within Canvas. So we have to flip the switch and turn on new quizzes. And how do we do that? Right now, at the moment, if you haven't done so already, if you go into your Canvas course and you go into quizzes, and in the top right, you select plus quiz, you'll just go into the classic quizzes build mode, right? This is what you'll see. So, but however, when we turn it on, we have to keep this in mind. Over again, nothing new. So we go into our courses, we go into the settings for that course, and under the features option, there's a little area down here that says new quizzes. To the right of new quizzes, there's the X. It should be X'd out unless you've turned it on already, accidentally, maybe. However, we just click the little X and we enable new quizzes. All right, so this is how we activate new quizzes for the course. And you may be wondering, maybe, do we have to do this per class? Yes, for now. Perhaps June 30th, everything will just be turned on automatically, or maybe a little bit earlier. But for now, we did test run this in the previous workshop last week. You do have to turn it on per class. How's that? Okay, so now once you've turned it on and you go back to quizzes and you start to begin to add a quiz, you're going to see something new. Choose a quiz engine. Would you select the classic quizzes or new quizzes? Classic quizzes, it's still available, but you have the option now to select new quizzes. And remember my choice for this course. You select new quizzes, you hit submit, and then you go into the build mode. So this may look very similar to classic quizzes. You're going to give it the assignment name, the point value. This area right here is grayed out, so you actually can't move it around. But this is basically telling Canvas that this is a new quiz format. You're going to give it an assignment due date, and then we start to build, which is what we'll do now. So let me go back here to this screen. Then we go to getting started. And I'll go through those steps live. This one I'm going to call workshop sample. 10 points is all right. Over here in the bottom right, we select build. And it takes us into the building category. So this is our blank slate. And something I forgot to mention, actually, up here at the very top, we see item banks and outcomes. This is something we will not go over today. It is a little bit more advanced, and we do need some more data, more information from other quizzes, which I do not have. But if you are interested in learning more about item banks or outcomes, feel free to set up an appointment with me after the workshop and let me know if we would like to get together and review any of this material. Okay. Another thing that I forgot to mention, this workshop will go beyond the hour. Last workshop was about an hour and a half. This is being recorded. So if you do need to go at that 1 o'clock or even earlier hour time, please feel free to do so. You can let me know. You don't have to let me know, but this is being recorded. It'll be available on our SharePoint and we'll send that link to you all. Okay. All right. So again, this is my title here. I can always edit it from the build mode. My instructions here are, I'll keep it simple. And again, you do have that rich content editor. So if you'd like to format your text, you can do so here as well. Just for ease, I'm going to split my window down so that I can see my, not just the build, but also the responses that we were building earlier. So over here on the left, I have, I want to keep this on the right. Oops. There we go. Did I like it? There we go. So over here on the left, this is the quiz that we just went over. Over here on the right is my blank slate. This is what we're building, all right? So there's no confusion there. Over on the right is what we're building. Over on the left is what we just went over. So number one, number two are very similar. So I'm only going to create one for the sake of time. Over here on the right, I'm going to select done. I'm going to lock in my question type, and then I'm going to hit plus. Once I hit plus, I get all of my different type of questions with the new Canvas quizzes. This is a multiple choice, and this is a multiple answer. Again, they're very similar, but let's just go with the multiple answer. It's going to give me a question title and a question stem. And my first instinct, which may be yours as well, where do you think the title or the question goes? Which of the following is not a former name of HNU? Do you feel like it goes in the title or the stem? Question to the crowd. What does your gut tell you?
Question title is what my gut would say.
Right, and mine did too. However, let's go ahead and not clarify that for now. And so the question title is for categorizational purposes mostly. So let's say that this quiz is given at the end of chapter 1, and within chapter 1 of your textbooks, you have different sections, chapter 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So question title, this is where you would put something like this question, oops, can't spell. This question is coming from chapter 1.1. The student is not able to see the question title, and so we put our actual prompt or question within what New Quizzes calls STEM. So you do want to keep that in mind. Do not put your prompts or your questions within the title, put it within the STEM. So let me go over here. I'm just, again, just for the sake of time, I'm going to copy and paste a lot of this information. So select all of the former HNU names. I'm going to place that and paste it on the stem. And now I'm going to go through and paste all of the options. Just like so. Is this view working for you? Is it not too, it's not too confusing? I'm just going back and forth. All right, so again, this is a multiple answer. How do you select what the correct answers are? Over here on the left, you do have those checks. So as you're building it, you just select which ones are the correct ones, just like that. If you need additional options, we just hit plus answer. And if you like to delete options, you just hit that little trash can. Okay, so let me minimize this a little bit more so we get that fuller view. Now, underneath every single question type, you're going to get something unique called options. Like in the essay, underneath the options is where you're going to get additional instructions or details for this question type. So for this multiple answer, you do have the option to show an on-screen calculator. I'll show you all what that looks like later on. And you have the option to have a basic calculator or scientific calculator. If I select basic, or actually, let's just see it now. I'm going to select basic calculator. Let me lock it in, hit preview. And over here on the right, I have this little calculator icon. I hit the icon there, and here's my basic calculator. I can move it around. And again, this is the student view, so they'll have this calculator on their screen. Let's go ahead and look at that scientific calculator. Workshop sample. Build. Click that. Preview. And the icon will still be there. We'll select the icon. And now we get this very fancy. What is it saying? Interesting. I haven't ran into that before. We'll show it to you soon. All right. It wasn't finished here. Let me go ahead and scroll back down. You do also have the option to shuffle the choices. So if you like to shuffle these around, our options A, B, C, and D, you do get that option down here as well. Notice that when we turn it on, we get this lock icon over here. So if you'd like C to always be C, you just select the lock icon, and then A, B, and D will be shuffled around. Pretty nice. Any questions here with building this multiple answer? And again, we're keeping it short. I'd just like to go over the options.
Would the partial credit with penalty, how would that calculate?
Over here at the bottom?
Yeah, so it just does it for you. You get 2 out of 3. It breaks up into thirds.
Gotcha. Yeah, so we assign it the point value here. If you like to provide feedback for those answers as well, you can specify that here as well. And for partial credit, that's an option that can be set here within grading.
Yeah.
Partial credit with penalty. So as the instructor, once the students have submitted, you can go in there and manually give them those credits as well. But for when auto grading is done, we can select that exact match or partial credit with the penalty, and then it'll do its best to sort of, if it's like if they get that 2 out of 3, it'll give it that 66% or so.
Okay.
Of this points value, so 2 of 3.
So Daniel, that's a great question. Actually, when I create an example quiz myself, and I try to play with that partial credit with penalty, I noticed that Canvas trying to, I mean, it seems that he's calculating in his own logic, but I'm not exactly sure how they calculate that, but you can see that student will receive partial credits, but yeah, but there's no way for instructor to set up how partially work. Yeah, so
Okay.
Canvas have its way to calculate it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it tries its best.
Gotcha.
Any other questions? All right, so this is a multiple answer. Multiple choice is very similar. So we'll move on to the next one, which is true or false. So let's scroll down. In order to lock in the question, make sure to hit done. And then we just hit plus. If you ever would like to add a question above, you have the option to do so as well, but we're going down the list. And so I hit plus, and this one is a true or false. It's right there. Again, so where do we put the question? In the title or in the stem?
The stem.
In the stem. Thank you, Kelly. And so we scroll down, I hit the stem, and then here we have HNU was established in 1868. And the answer is true. So I select that true option. And the only option I have here is to show an on-screen calculator. You do not need a calculator, I don't think so, for this question. And we assign it the point value and we move forward. True or false, pretty simple. Let's go ahead and hit done. Now that I have 2 questions at the moment, I can also reorganize my questions like so by selecting and dragging this little waffle icon here. I did get the question last time. What is this icon here? Does anybody know?
No.
Next to the pencil. This icon here will duplicate that question that you select. And then the trash will delete it. It'll ask you, are you sure? Let's go ahead and remove it. And then the edit is the same. We'll do the same action as if you were to just hover over the question and select it. Okay. Moving forward. So again, this is a fun one. Here is the fill in the blank type question. So I'm going to hit plus. I'm going to look for fill in the blank. And I'm going to scroll down. And this is the only one you have to keep in mind where the prompt actually does not go in the stem. The prompt actually goes in this special area here that says type a statement. I think my assumption is that it's probably a little bit too hard to code it in the fill in the blank in this because this is more universal. So the easier way with Canvas to do is just to select a different area because this part could be a little confusing. It doesn't go in the title, it doesn't go in the stem, it goes in this new area. And this only applies to fill in the blank.
What happens if you do fill it out? How would it, like, it would appear twice or it wouldn't compute?
Well, it would appear twice if you paste it or you type it out twice. But here the question stem could be like, well, let me type it out first and then it might come to me. What's it called? Highlight the, type in the correct answer. And so down here will be my statement. And my statement is Michael Green is the current HNU president. So my prompt or my stem will be type in the correct answer. And my actual statement is here at the bottom. And so how do we specify what the fill in the blank will be? Type a statement, select text, and press enter to create a new blank. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight Michael. I'm going to create, you can either click here, create blank space, or just hit enter on your keyboard, and it does this little thing to that word. What's actually really cool again is that you can highlight more than one word, like so. So you can have more than one word that is fill in the blankable per statement. We scroll down just a tad and we get to some interesting territory as well. So what if I know Michael as Mike? I'm that close to him. We're like PB&J, right? I might want to type in Mike. Over here on the left, the answer type, with the text match, I can hit this drop-down list. I can set it to be an exact match, which means case sensitive, or I can do close enough, or I can specify the correct answer. If I select the specify correct answer option, here is where I will put that additional Mike answer choice. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if the student were to type in Michael or Mike, both of these would be auto-graded as correct and given full points. Questions on that? So this is fill in the blank. All right, let's go ahead and hit done. Let me scroll down over here. And the next one we're going to is called matching. Let's go hit plus, and then let's hit matching. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so for this matching type question, I'm going to go ahead and place my questions or the schools here. Copy, paste, copy, and paste. I do not need this fourth option, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. And for my answers, I'll just keep it short. Let's say MGN. Let's say Kip. And let's say Pam. All right. And then for the STEM, copy and paste. And if you would like to add additional options, you can always add it down here. And then here's those distractors that we mentioned earlier. If we want to add those distractors for people to, again, challenge the student to make sure that they know what they're selecting, go ahead and select distractors. Let's put I-Ching. Let's put another distractor. Let's have some fun. We'll put Daniel.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we'll do Tom. And then we'll also do Kelly. All right. Our options here are to show an on-screen calculator and to shuffle the questions. So these right here will be shuffled around. We do have the option to give partial credit or an exact match as well. And again, as the instructor, you can always go in there and do this manually if you do give that partial credit, if it's not correct. Let's hit done. This locks it in and we'll move forward. So question 5 and question 6 are the exact same thing, except one has distractors. So I'm moving forward to question 7. And I forgot what I called this one. I think I said drag and drop. That's incorrect. It's called ordering. The drag and drop question type is called ordering. I think I just didn't specify that. So I'm going to hit plus. I'm going to find ordering. Let me scroll down just a little bit. And here are those labels that I was talking to you about. So if we think of the spectrum, our very left and our very right, this is where we can specify those two titles or names. It is optional. So if you just want to actually have it off, you don't want these labels to be at the top and at the bottom, we can turn it off. Okay. Our question stem is, oops. Drag and drop the following class standings from first year to last year. Just like so. Let me include the labels in this case since I used it earlier. So I'll say earliest. And then I'll say, what did I say over here? Last. Number 1 will be freshman. Number 2, we'll have our sophomore. Junior. And then our seniors. That's the ordering type question. Our only options here are to show on-screen calculator or display answers in a paragraph. What this means is that if you have a much longer, let's say you have you're reading a book for your class and you want to categorize them, and each category is like a big blurb, like which came first, you want the students to read it. This is that display answers in a paragraph option. Let's go ahead and hit done and continue. Our next type question is the categorization.
When we're making up questions, can we also just record the answers as well at the same time so they can be auto-graded?
Absolutely. So for this question type, for example, the correct answer, it's not implied, but the order that you're typing it in will be the correct answer. The only where this doesn't apply, Kelly, is up earlier. We've had the multiple answer. Since there is more than one correct answer, Canvas doesn't know. And so we will have to manually select those. But for this type of question, if that's what you're asking, we'll go ahead and type it in the correct order. Does that answer your question?
Mhm.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, so we'll go ahead and hit done. And let's go ahead and continue with this categorization type. So here we have drag and drop the following. Oh, nope. Drag and drop the correct HNU staff under their department. For category 1, we have unclickable. Hold on. Oh, here, sorry. I'm clicking in the wrong area. Type a category description. This is CETL. And then for category 2, we have IT. Type an answer. We have Ichi. We have Tomasa. And you have myself. For IT. Notice how it is web responsive. It's very nice. So you could even build this out on your mobile phone. This is what it's going to look like as we minimize the window. Pretty neat. We have Joshua. We have Jay. And Zarni, just like so. If we would like to add additional categories, so more than 2, we can go ahead and do so just by adding that plus. So we can make it a pretty interactive quiz. We can always add those distractors as well, and we'll have additional options. Our option here is to show an on-screen calculator, and that's it. Questions on categorization. Maybe it might be hard to, if you've never seen it before, that's why we did the walkthrough earlier. It may be hard to sort of visualize this, but once it's done, it looks pretty cool. Just drag and drop, drag and drop. The next question type is the hotspot. So I'll go ahead and hit plus. I'll look for that hotspot option. And then over here, this question type is not accessible to users requiring keyboard only access or screen readers. So if you know any of your students have a keyboard only access or require screen readers, keep them in mind. Probably don't use this hotspot type question. Okay, we'll be all inclusive here. So click on the Paul J. Cushing library. I'm going to go ahead and just copy this prompt here. I'm going to paste it over here. And then for this one, drag and drop, I'll use the browse option this time. So it's going to browse my computer. I have it right there on my desktop, and let's hit open. When we're building out this question type, it'll upload. And then we have 3 options up here in the top. We have the square, we have the oval, and we have the polygon. Let's start with the square. It's pretty straightforward. So we're looking for the Paul J. Cushing library. I'm going to do my best. I get those crosshairs again and highlights the area surrounding and including the Cushing library. If I would like to use an oval, it'll overwrite that and just do it like so. Do you see the oval? Mm-hmm. And then for polygon, this one's pretty cool. If you want to be more specific with your shape, you can do so as well. Polygon meaning many. You can have as many different sizes as you'd like. How do you close this shape? You can double click like that, and it'll close the shape. So I'll click, 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 click. And this one's going to be a double click. There's my area. All right, so I'll use a square for this one. So as long as the student clicks anywhere with this area, it'll give them those points that we assign it down here. Our option here, again, is only to show the on-screen calculator, nothing else. Questions on any of the auto-graded type questions?
So for the student view with this question, will anything appear to them that lets them know that they're the area they're selecting? So they're aware of like, okay, they didn't mistakenly click on another area. Like, is there in the student view a way that they can see where they're selecting so there's no confusion about that?
Right, yeah, the actual preview of it, when you show, it's not that, the contrast I do not like. It's this sort of bluish target. If you have an image that has a lot of blue, it might be hard to distinguish. So it's just like that.
Okay, so they'll need to see that blue target to know that they've attempted it. Okay.
Yeah. So this is what's going to show up once the student submits there or clicks on that area that you've specified.
Got it.
Yeah.
I just have one question on the hotspot on this one here. How do you get the map in there? How do you get the map for them to look at?
Sure. So let's go ahead and go through that. And so I'm going to delete my image, remove image. So Kelly, when you haven't uploaded the image, when you've selected the hotspot type question, you'll have this area here that says drag and drop or browse your computer. I selected browse. So on my desktop, I already have the images for this workshop ready to go. And so I'll just look for that image and I'll open it. And keep in mind, I am on a Mac, so it might look a little bit different if you're on Windows. But it's the same concept. It'll open up your file browser. You'll select the image and then you'll just open it. It'll upload onto Canvas and you'll see it. And then it's ready to go. Once it's uploaded, you'll highlight that area and move forward. Is that okay, Kelly?
Mhm.
You can also drag and drop it if easier. All right, so we'll continue. Let's hit done. We lock it in. And again, the last two are the manually graded questions. Let's go ahead and hit plus. This is the file upload. We'll put our question in the stem. Not so much of a question, but just more of a prompt here. Upload a picture of your favorite spot on campus, just like so. And that's it. Our options here at the bottom, pretty neat as well. Show an on-screen calculator, but you also have the option to limit the file number. So if you want the student to upload 2 pictures of their favorite spots on campus, you can go ahead and limit that file. Of course, it wouldn't be 1, it would be 2. If you leave it as 1 and you're requesting 2 images, you'll run into some issues. So we can limit the file number here. We can type it in, or over here on the right, we can just use those arrow keys to increase or decrease the amounts. We can also restrict the file types. So if you're only looking for PDFs, right? And sometimes you have students who are submitting Pages, which is the Apple's version of Microsoft Word. If you're requesting students to submit a Word version because you would like to do everything in Word, because Word has a very nice review feature, for example, you can limit that extension here as well, or restrict it. Okay, so PDF, JPEG, PNG, Pages, Word, Excel, CSV, you can specify that here. And those are our options for a file upload. Let's go ahead and hit done. Last but not least, we have the fan favorite as well, which is the essay type question. Let's go ahead and hit plus. The essay is located in the top right. Let's hit that as well. And then in the prompt, we'll go ahead and type in, not type, but copy paste in this example. Tell us more about your favorite memory at Holy Names, either virtually or on campus. And our options here are rich. We have the show the on-screen calculator, the rich content editor, spell check, show word count, set word limit. The rich content editor allows us to what? Who can tell us? What is the rich content editor?
Not
a plain content editor? I like it. So you have the, if we turn this off, when the student is typing, it'll keep it very plain Jane. And what I mean by that, if you've ever uploaded not uploaded, but opened the text pad on the Mac, on the Windows is called Notepad. It keeps the text very simple, meaning no hyperlinks, no boldedness, no italicized, nothing like that. It keeps it all very RTF, very plain. And so we have that option there. If you just want to receive straight text, nothing fancy, we can turn off the rich content editor. If we turn it on, however, then the student will be able to bold, increase the text size, select styles, add tables, images, videos, hyperlinks, so on and so forth. That's the rich content editor versus the plain. Spell check, let's be nice. Let's give them that option to spell check. You can turn it off. Show the word count. That's this option down here at the bottom left. So as I type, it will count, right? So I have 6 words. So we can turn that on and set the word limit. As soon as we turn that on, we have our min and we have our max, like so. And this is what we'll show here, a little bit lighter gray. Okay, for the grading notes, this is more for you as well, so that when you're grading the students' work, you might want to have a little note for yourself, whatever that may be. Sort of like the notes at the bottom of a PowerPoint when you're creating a PowerPoint. This works in a similar fashion. So these notes are not for the students, they're for you. Questions, comments, concerns? We are done building this new quiz. Anything, hit me, please.
Hey, Kevin.
Sure.
Thank you for showing the how to design new quiz. Is interesting, but my question is not related to the design because you know, I can play around. So I usually organize assignments for, you know, to the student in just the assignment tab, under the assignment tab of our homepage. So can we embed, I mean, somehow using the new quizzes features here underneath the assignment tab, or it must be independent from the tab right there? I mean, you know what I say?
Yeah, so this works exactly the same way as the classic quiz. Nothing changes. It's just the build and the look and feel of it, really. So once you've created, or once you've made your quiz, let me go back to, let me just start from the beginning, actually, because I do need these two tabs. Let me go to courses. This one is titled the new quizzes CETA workshop. And so we'll create the quiz within the quizzes option here, right? But if we go to a,
oh yeah, so you go under the assignment tab there. Okay, right.
Right, because it does have a point value and everything, we'll go ahead and move those around here. And of course, we can add groups and add assignments from this view as well. I'm just keeping it all localized just for the workshop, but nothing changes. It stays the same in respects to your question. Yeah.
So you can do new quiz under assignment or quizzes?
If you add the assignment here, well, it can't. It gets a little bit, you want to create quizzes and quizzes.
Okay.
Yeah, keep the quizzes. That's why I did it that way. So again, just to keep it all under the same roof. Once it's created, then we can go into assignments and put it into the correct category. And if you're using modules, we'll go ahead and put those in the correct module as well. But that's beyond this workshop. I'm just talking about new quizzes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Let's take, well, what's my next part? We did the build, we'll do the settings, but since I'm on this page right here already, let's go ahead and zoom in. And don't mind the workshop sample right there. What do you see different about these two icons? This icon at the top is filled in. This icon on the bottom is just an outline. A new quiz will be filled in, and a classic quiz will be outlined when they are not published. Once you go ahead and publish them over on the right, they're going to change colors, but they remain the same. New quizzes will be filled in and classic quizzes will remain outlined. So that's a kind of a quick and easy way to see, hey, has this been migrated to a new quiz or not? And we'll actually talk about that very soon. All right, so let's go into the settings tab. The time is 12:51, just as a friendly reminder. I am not kicking anyone out, just a friendly reminder. This will go beyond that hour mark, just like I mentioned. But let's go ahead and go into the settings tab now. And I'd like to ask one more time, any just other comments? Okay, so the settings tab, let's go back here, is located at the very top. Once we're building, once we have this view, it's located right here, settings, okay? Let me see if I have that, like, okay. So this is a live demo. So on this tab right here, we have lots of different settings. We have shuffle questions. So if we are building that quiz, notice in the options, we do have, I showed you how to move it around manually with that little waffle menu on the right. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to do that, we also have the option to shuffle questions. However, this will shuffle all the questions, not just one or two or three. All of your questions will be shuffled if we go into the settings and turn that on. Likewise, we also have shuffle answers. Within each question type where it is appropriate, we have the option to shuffle the choices. So that's a case by case or question type by question type example. If we want to globally shuffle those answers, we can do so as well from settings. Just keep in mind that it'll apply it to all of the questions in that new quiz. So we could do it from the beginning, or we could do it at the end. Just keep in mind, these are global settings. Is that okay? Okay. You can also have the option to show the quiz one question at a time and backtracking. What do you think backtracking is? Do you want to allow the student to be able to go back once they've gone on to the next question? So if you are showing one question at a time, do you want them to go back or not? I'll keep it on and we'll do another preview because it is look a little bit different. Require a student access code. This is very similar to like the Zoom access key. If you want a password for the student, you can go ahead and give them that password there and then show and provide that for them. If you set an access code and you don't provide the password, no one will take the quiz. So let's keep this off. Time limits. This is where I set the time. You get your hours and the minutes. You can use the little arrow keys here, or you can just type it in as well. Let's go ahead, 1 hour, 12 minutes. Filter IP address. This is a little bit beyond as well what we talk about. Filter IP address. This basically means we do the range of who can take the quiz. You want to be very mindful of the students who may be international students. So if you do set this for whatever reason, international students may not be able to take the quiz. So I would advise to just keep it off. You know your students, and so we will keep the IP addresses turned off. Allow calculator. The calculator type, you can also specify it here, the basic or the scientific. And we haven't seen it yet, so let's go ahead and select the scientific for now. When we do the preview again, you'll see what that looks like. Allow multiple attempts. The score to keep. Would you like this new quiz to be would you like students to be able to take it more than once? Yes, sure. Let's go ahead and keep the highest score, the average score, the latest score, or the first score. If we select the average, allowed attempts, we can have unlimited to limited. We'll specify how many. And then the waiting period is pretty neat. The required time between attempts. So once the student submits the quiz, how much time needs to pass before they can attempt the quiz again? A day, a few hours, a few minutes. We'll keep that off for now. Last but not least is the restrict student results view. This is what we saw down here. So once that student submits the quiz, all of these results is what will be shown by default. I'll say that again because it's very important. By default, the student will see all of this. You may not want students to see all of this, right? Especially if they're attempting the quiz again, right? Or if the quiz is given in different times, like for different sections, because we want to limit the sharing of the responses and whatnot. By default, all of this is shown to the student. So it's very important that when we go into the settings and we're done building the quiz, we go into the settings tab and then we restrict the student results view. Let's go through these options just one by one because we do want to just clarify what this is. So let me zoom in. Show points awarded overall and per question. So the show points awarded in this area right here, 11 out of 15 points. Okay. Show points possible. That's this area right here, 15. Show, did I say that? Yeah, show items and questions. This part right here is all of this within the questions. Okay. So if I go back, would you like to show the student response? Would you, and if we check that, would you like to indicate, would you like them to be able to indicate response as correct, incorrect? Sure. Would you like to show correct answer with incorrect response? And would you like to show item feedback? All of these are options that you can turn on and off for the students when they've submitted their quiz. And I'll say it again, by default, new quizzes will show the students all of this. So we have to restrict it if we do not want them to. Questions, comments, concerns?
So you said all those things are going to be shown?
By default, yes. But we have the power and we have the knowledge and we have the ability to go into the settings tab, scroll down and restrict it. Okay.
So as soon as you restrict it, then they'll only see that.
Right. As soon as we hit restrict like this, I'll go ahead and do another preview and we'll see what it looks like on that end. All right, so I'm done with the settings here. Let's go back into the build. It saves automatically, which is very nice. We don't have to hit save or update or anything like that. And let's go ahead and walk through the quiz that we created step by step with the settings applied. So notice here that we do have the, oh, this is the workshop sample. It's okay. I clicked on the wrong quiz, but this is the 1-by-1 question type. So this is the new view. I'll just type in example answer, just like so. I'll hit next, type your correct answer. What is this, Mike? H and U. Oh no, I am right. Oh, sorry. I selected shuffle the questions. That's why.
Yes, shuffle.
It's coincidentally the very last one was the first one, so I thought that was my workshop example. Dun dun dun. So freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Let's have some wrong ones, huh? False. Match the H and U. Let's do Pam. Let's do Pam. Let's do Pam. Click on the Cushing library. Let's go ahead and select there. And now let's go here. Now let's go here. We'll go next. Select all of the former here. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, let's go back. So this is backtracking. If we allow and we turn on backtracking, we have this previous button. If not, it will not be there. Here's the scientific calculator. Ooh, ah. So I've selected to turn on that scientific calculator. If we click on the icon, this is what the scientific calculator will look like. SOHCAHTOA. Let's go next. Here's a categorization. So this view is a little bit nicer because everything is just up front, but it depends, up to you how you'd like to have your quiz viewed. Upload a favorite picture. I'll browse. I'll upload. Loading, loading, loading. 3,250 kilobits, 3.2 megabytes. And submit. Upon submission, you will not be able to change your answers. Are you ready? Go ahead and submit. And there you go. Notice that we restricted the student view. Let's go back. Where was it? Oh, no. So that last option, we just flipped the switch for the very first choice, restrict student view. And so because we did so, we don't see anything. Okay. Success. Your submission was successful. Quiz scores are viewed within SpeedGrader. Within to the instructor, you can see your students' quiz results within SpeedGrader and the gradebook and within new quizzes themselves. So 3 different areas. And there we go. So that's the settings tab. Any questions about settings? Right on. Let's move forward to the moderate tab. Let me just show you really quickly where that is within new quizzes. So over here as well, I don't have data because I don't have fake students and I don't have students within this class here. So I do have screenshots though of the examples found online via Canvas. So let's go to the moderate tab. I'm going to go full screen. And again, just keep in mind, these are fake student examples, but this is what you will see on your end. So when we click on the moderate option up here in the top right, this is what we'll see. And so it's broken up into 7 different sections. Let me move my Zoom stuff over here. This is the moderation page, which displays a list of students in the course, their quiz attempts, the score for each attempt, the time for each attempt, attempts logs, and quiz accommodations. To moderate a quiz for an individual student, click the moderate button found over here. And moderation options include managing the timer settings and reopening a student's most recent attempt. Now let's go through these a little bit closer, one by one. Again, over here on the left is just a list of the students. Number 2 is the attempts. So looking at Max here, this is attempt number 1, number 2, and number 3. And if we click on a specific attempt, this is hyperlinked. If we click on any one of those, it's going to take us to this page here. This is basically going back and being able to manually grade any one of those. So I think Daniel was the one who mentioned about partial credit. So if we give the student that option to submit, if we have a question type with partial credit given, then we can go into this option here and regrade it. So over here at the bottom, this is where we're going to see that regrade option for that question. So you do want to keep that in mind. You have that power and ability to regrade a question type. Number 3 is the overall score for that attempt. It just follows through. Attempt 1, they received a 0%. Attempt 2 was a 75, and attempt 3 was a 50. So that's column 3. Column 4 is the amount of time the student took to take that quiz, an hour, 54 minutes. An hour, 1 minute, 38 seconds, and 57 seconds. So I think this should be realigned a little bit better, flush rights rather than flush left, my opinion. Number 5 is a log, and here's where things get a little bit interesting. You might consider it TMI, too much information, but it is helpful information because if you ever do need to go in there and make some changes or wants more information about it, we can go ahead and click on the log option. So let me just go ahead and read through this. In the log, you can view the time and date a student began the quiz. Up here at the very top, we have the number 1. The student began this quiz Tuesday, November 5th, 2019 at 2:19 p.m. And at the very bottom, we have when it was finished, which was 2:21 p.m. after 1 minute, 45 seconds. You can also view each event a student completed while taking the quiz over here, and the time that the event was completed over here. To view more details about a quiz event, click and drop down arrow next to the event. So let's say, for example, this was not 1 minute, 45 seconds. Let's say this was an hour and, 1 hour total time. And on question 1, this student took 50 minutes. That might be a little odd, right? So this is where one example where this case might come in handy. You want to see, well, what happened? What happened those first 50 minutes? Once we click on this drop-down list, we're going to get a view like this, and it'll go more in depth. We can submit that question for the student or regrade it. The attempt log indicates if an attempt is still in progress. To manually submit the student attempt, click submit this attempt button down here. So again, just more information found within the logs. Accommodations is pretty neat as well. So we can give students additional accommodations for the quiz. Notice that right here, this is a student by student case scenario. And so if we want to go in here and give the student additional time, we can go into accommodation and give them so. Time adjustments are given within a specific time. We can also remove the time limit. So that's considered an accommodation to remove the time limit. And we can do it in time limit multiplier. Do I have that view? I do not. So multiplier means if the quiz was 1 hour long and my multiplier is 0.5, how much additional time is given? 30 minutes. So the multiplier option is that value there. Last but not least is that moderate column all the way at the very right. You can moderate quiz settings for individual students in new quizzes. Moderation settings apply only to the quiz you are moderating and include reopening quiz attempts and managing timer settings. So when we click on the moderate option, this only applies to this quiz. Moderation timer settings apply to all attempts for the quiz in which they were set. You can add a specific amount of minutes or hours to each attempt or remove time limit requirements. Only one timer setting can be selected for each student. To adjust timer settings for all quizzes. In the course for a student, you can add accommodations. Moderation timer settings will not be applied to a quiz attempt that is currently in progress. I wasn't able to find an image of that, and I don't have that data, but I do have this information here straight from Canvas. When we click on that moderate option, we're going to get a view like this. We can see how many attempts the student has taken. And if we want to give them additional attempts, we can specify that from here as well. Again, notice that, do you remember when we were building the quiz at the end within the settings, how many additional attempts would you like to give? If there are none for that whole quiz, we can specify it here per student instead. Questions on the moderate tab? Okay. All right. So the last two options here that we're going to talk about, they're pretty cool as well. It's called migrating and direct sharing. So we did mention, can anybody remind us when is classic quizzes going away?
June 30th, 2024.
Bingo. June 30th, 2024. Classic quizzes will be gone. And so we do want to know how to migrate our classic quizzes to new quizzes. And it's pretty simple. Again, new quizzes are the filled in rocket ship. Classic quizzes are the outline rocket ship. That does not change. And so how do we make this classic quiz into a new quiz? Over here on the very right, I'm just in the quiz view within my Canvas course shell. Over here on the right, I'm going to select my shish kebab menu, the three little dots. The third option here says migrate. So again, take a look again. This is an outline. I'm going to hit migrate. It's going to take its little time. This is on Canvas's server, so if it takes long, it's not your fault. And there it is. So notice how this outline version became the new version. If I go ahead and preview this very quickly, this may look more familiar to you. This is the classic quiz. I'm going to go ahead and hit preview. This is what that view looks like there. If I go back to quizzes and I select the new one that Canvas just made for me, I'll go into build. And this is what it looks like now. And again, this is all automated by Canvas. And that's how you migrate a classic quiz to a new quiz. Pretty straightforward. Again, just go back to your quizzes tab. Hit the three little dots over on the right. And select migrate. That's it. All the settings, all the information will come along with it. And that's migrating. Questions on that? You all right? Okay. Last but not least, direct sharing. What if I want to share a new quiz with somebody else? Over here on the right, just like we talked about with, what's it called? Migrating the code. Notice how the migrate option is only available for classic quizzes. If I click within a new quiz, we're not going to see that option. Okay, so within that classic quiz right there, if I want to direct share it with I Ching, for example, I can go ahead and hit send to. I'll type in, it'll auto-populate because we're in the same system. I'll go ahead and send it to I Ching, and she's going to receive it on her end here. And at the very top left, I do have this as a previous example. You'll have a little notification in the top left, and then there's this tab that says shared contents. We'll select shared content, and all of the shared material that is shared will appear right here. Once I receive that, I can go ahead and preview it, import it into my class, or remove it. Most likely, I will go ahead and import it to my class. And as an instructor, I have the ability to type which one of my classes I would like to import this quiz into. I'll select this one here. This is my own class that I have for Canvas, so don't be confused there. I can also select a specific module. I don't remember the names. and then I can go ahead and import it. So that's direct sharing. Questions on direct sharing? This is only if you want to share. You don't have to. Okay, well, thank you guys. Well, what's next? What can you do on? What are the next steps here after we complete? You can always reach out and make an appointment with me to start applying any new concepts reviewed today with new quizzes. You can visit our CETL Workshop SharePoint site for more information on upcoming trainings and resources. And you can revisit session material from today in the Canvas online tools for teaching and learning. I do have this ready to go. Our SharePoint site is updated, so do take a look. Feel free to browse around. If we click on the CETL Workshop, the prominent one here is Canvas online tools for teaching and learning. Because this is the last workshop, I'm going to go ahead and update this with the files that I used for this workshop, meaning the PowerPoint slides PDF and other fun files that I think you would all benefit from. So take a look, please do browse around. We have new quizzes, we have lockdown browser, and more information on using Turnitin with Canvas here. The recorded sessions playlist here will take you to our YouTube channel. You can go ahead and visit and view the workshop that was recorded last week. I'll be doing the same thing with this one as well and uploading that, but feel free to go onto YouTube and watch for your viewing pleasure. Let me go ahead and send you guys those links right here, just real quick, if you would like to. I'll send it in the Zoom chat. So if you would make an appointment, click on that. If you want to visit our workshops, SharePoint, click on that. And if you want to go straight to the Canvas online tools and learning, click on that last link right there. Last but not least, we do appreciate any additional questions and comments and feedback. And so here's a QR code just for your reference if you like QR codes. But if not, I'll go ahead and share this link here as well. I'll send it in the Zoom chat. And if you can go ahead and click on this link, please, please, please. And it is just a survey for us, our department, to see how this workshop was for you so that we can change it next time that it's offered. We do want to try our best and make this as a resourceful workshop. So please do fill out that survey. Let us know how we did. And again and again and again, thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to attend this workshop. I hope that we all migrate to new quizzes soon.
Right. Thank you so much, Kevin and Iching. Okay, I have a class after me. Right. Okay, thank you very much. It's very helpful. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
A great one.
yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely,
Thanks for
Kelly. Nice
coming,
to see
Kelly.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.